Welcome to the world, sweet baby Casey. This is Cory, and this is the O The Anthem podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob. Welcome to a much cleaner episode of the O The Anthem podcast. Thank you for joining us for episode at some point in the future. But thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you for listening on your podcatcher of choice. The easiest way, anchor.fm/O The Anthem. I think one of the funniest things about looking back on this one hypothetically in the future is like what will and won't be important. Like, I'm seeing the pop-up with the Facebook logo. And number one,
the meta.
Yeah, well,
logo.
Facebook be around, and then will it just be meta by the time she's 15 or something like that? I'm trying to.
Well, Cory, it's already the meta. Now, it's just meta.
Yeah.
And to everybody listening to this, of course, this is going to be a much tighter episode. I warned Cory in our prep that unless he decided to wax poetic, it would be shorter. And given, everything that I know about him, I would expect us to monologue at each other for,
at least part
solid
of this.
40 minutes. Yeah. But otherwise, given the laissez-faire actions during the pregnancy, I don't think there's going to be much waxing poetic. I told Roberto, if I were in your shoes, I would be a cautious freaking out right now. But you seem very calm and collected and very laissez-faire about the whole thing.
I mean, I think I've been pretty calm throughout the whole thing, from beginning to end, really. Like,
I even finding out was very, I'm sure there was a shock, but.
I mean, it was certainly shocking news, but it wasn't, Rachel has told me a couple times how me being excited about it made her feel better and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, basically to people who are listening at home.
Wait. You calmed her down with the, what you gonna do? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely not.
That's going to be like a 40-year-old reference by the time she listens. She's not even going to know what that is.
I think everyone knows what you're getting at.
That's the one. That's the one. I'm going to let go after that.
So basically, this episode here is being put out whenever Casey actually comes into the world because, what happens if Monday, our usual record date, all of a sudden Rachel goes into labor and then there's no episode and then people are wondering like, well, what happened?
Well, so welcome to episode 470. Today's date is January 15th, 2022.
Wow, that really got out of hand.
What was the size of the baby when it was born?
Screaming at a calendar on December 30th, like, move! I need to get a tax write-off.
December, that would be 14 months pregnant. Baby comes out 18 inches and 45 pounds and talking already. Well, fellows, you finally got me out of the womb there. Was having a very pleasant time. Sorry.
Why do you talk like that?
Because my Uncle Rob has used a British accent for 7 years, and that's all I thought we spoke. That's all I thought we spoke like.
Number one, why do you talk like that? Number two, why are you a boy?
Listen, don't misgender, all right? We have no idea. Despite the pink and the bows and the dresses, I, for one, embrace whatever gender a child chooses to assign themselves to. Maxon loves playing with dinosaurs and toys, cars, but he also likes his dolls. Man, you live it up, bro. You like your long hair? You don't want a haircut? Absolutely. Man bun it until we have officially reached a ponytail, which is where we are now. Like it's just a straight ponytail. And either you're going to have to go Russian arms dealer with that, or you're going to have to go, on the spectrum of gender with that, I feel like.
I mean, I think going into parenthood from this time and place is a little bit different than when we grew up. Like that was
a little bit.
This was never even considered when we were kids.
Oh, remember when in the late 80s we were kids and they were talking about this climate change thing that might happen sometime in the future, and hurricanes, fires, nonsense.
Yeah, but don't worry, we put a mighty fine Band-Aid on it, maybe.
Well, yeah, the Build Back Better, the Build Back Better plan is all right. Oh wait, no, the environmental stuff's going on.
No,
Things going on.
There's still there's still plenty of environmental stuff, but anyway, that's not what this is about. This is about baby Casey.
But this is what happens.
She's just gonna be like, build back what?
The Biden catastrophe. That's what your dad calls it now. All right. How Joe Biden ruined our country.
What her granddad calls it.
Well, no. What her dad will call it. Inevitably, I see Bill Baker, and then I look at you, and I'm like, he's gonna be there. It's gonna be him. He's moving in that direction. It'll be fine.
Just swing in that direction.
Yeah, absolutely. This is rich white men inevitably become Republicans. That's what you have to do. The way that we grow.
Well, yeah. So, I guess thinking back on my childhood, I don't remember, anything too early. I feel like, do you have a cognizant like first memory as a child?
I think the problem is that the very few stories that I've been told about my childhood are repeated so often that it's like, do I remember that, or have I heard it so many times that I feel like I'm reliving the memory in first person, despite the fact that I've only heard, of people telling. Like my mom tells me about, I was 2, like a little over 2, and reading a book on the floor of my grandparents' house, and like grandfather's like, this kid can read. He's reading already, and he's like reading us a story back. And then she was like, oh, but you could see that you were looking at the pictures and reading the words. So you had just memorized everything I said and what picture was associated with it and just like reading it. Now, I tell that story in third person because I feel like there's no way I remember that happening. But when I think about it in first person. Like the memory is in first person, even though I'm 100% sure I don't actually remember that. See, it gets complicated. So then it's like, what's your first memory versus what somebody told you and you just remember it?
I mean, like, I feel like I remember little tiny fragments of things, not like full formed memories kind of thing. Like, I remember when my sister was born being at the hospital, like, like at the birth. Like, I remember.
You'd have been like 3?
Something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember how far apart you guys
are. I mean, like, I don't remember, like, like how we got to the hospital or any of the parts that are involved, but I kind of remember, like, walking into the room and seeing my mom with a new baby, and that's, I think, one of the first things that really, like, in my mind.
Oh, and Casey's going to get to have it like 6 times. That's a great memory.
I hope not. I really hope not.
Now he's starting to panic. All right.
No, because it's funny because not long ago was Brendan's wedding, and my dad was talking to somebody at the wedding, and he said something like, I kind of wish I had gotten into having children earlier because I would have so many children if I knew how much I would enjoy it.
And your mom's like, sorry?
Well, she wasn't around for that part. She had moseyed her way out of there at that point. But I can see an idea of like where it would be fun to have like a ton of children, but at the same time, I also don't see that would be fun. So it's a double-edged sword. It really is. I right now, like this moment, I am so excited to like meet her. But at the same time, there's like I kind of hope it takes a little bit longer because like this is the last little bit of pre-child life for, like.
Good cover on that. Yeah.
No, I mean, like, it's like.
You went out to dinner. You and Rach went out to dinner. And that's going to be a super planned event in the future.
Right.
Babysitters and reservations. And
well, and like earlier, Rachel went into work for a little bit and, she brought Brooks with her, like when she went to the office.
Yeah. And,
it was the first time in a while that there was like literally no one in the apartment except for me. And I was just like, it's not going to be like this for a while, like,
ever?
Yeah,
ever.
I mean, like,
ever.
Yeah. Like when's the next time it's going to be like this? So,
I mean, the reality is that like even if mom and baby go out, Brooks won't go with them because a baby and a dog are too much to handle. So like it'll be all 4 of you, or you'll be at home with either the baby or with Brooks.
Yeah,
So,
or two people will be gone, and somebody in Brooks will be here or something like that. But
oh yeah, like date night. Date night. I'll be a babysitter and Brooks and
right,
Casey, but not never you by yourself there.
probably not. No, unless Brooks is at like
Well,
the groomer or something like that.
The inevitable divorce, and then the lonely nights while they sleep in your house. But other than that,
listen, I can get custody of the dog.
The dog is what you want custody of. Oh.
Well, no, I'm saying and Casey, but they're.
To be fair, mom will likely get custody of Casey. Having been a divorce attorney, I can tell you, it's 2020. It's doesn't matter. It's enough.
I really hope this is conversation for nothing. That's not my plan. See, this is okay. So you already know your crazy Uncle Rob who says things that get people in trouble. That's a little.
That's an example. That's an example of one of them. Yes.
So yeah, thinking back on my childhood, which is like what I'm using to. I want to be able to like sort of match Casey in the same level of childhood experience, I guess. I mean, like I just think that
I disagree completely. I think you should avoid all those childhood experiences.
No, I had a really great childhood, and I think
but
that
it's wandering around the neighborhood again. So things that have changed. I was 7 years old, walking me and my sister back home from school, like 9-10 blocks, letting us in, getting her a snack, doing homework. I would never let a child do that now. Absolutely not. World's too dangerous.
I don't see myself being one of those parents. But also like I feel like I'll be one of the type of parent who will let them get away with things earlier than they should too. So like example, my dad let me see Judge Dredd when it came out. That was my first R-rated movie. How old was? I'm trying to think of like what.
That was 94. So you would have been 10. R-rated movie, but it's
95.
Parents.
Yeah. So I was 11 at the time. But yes, it was an R-rated movie, and therefore, it was like a good 7 years ahead of that one. But I remember
you're 7 years ahead of Seeing by Yourself.
Right.
Still, I think it's 13 is supposed to be the limit of what you're able to take a child into, but dad.
Well, as another childhood memory, I remember my dad yelling at the poor teenage ticket taker at a movie theater that doesn't exist anymore. Going like, I'm allowed to pick what movies my kid sees, and you don't have any kind of authority in this. Like,
we should clarify: a movie theater is a place that you go. It's like your house where you watch everything on streaming, but you actually go there and pay to watch it.
I'll tell her what it is. She'll know what it is. She'll know what a movie theater.
It'll probably be Benji's will still be open. You'll still be able to go to the drive-in. Nothing takes down Benji's.
Well, no, I think regardless of just being in LA, regardless of how long into the future we go, where movie theaters may or may not become a thing that are as prevalent in the future, I still imagine LA will have plenty of them. Like we're like somewhere.
And you're taking that as you're still living in LA, and I am in the world of reality where you're T-minus 5 years of moving back to Maryland. So,
I mean, we'll see, I guess, but I mean, like I think there's good things going on here, so I don't want to.
And it's not LA. It's if we were still in New York, I would have said the same thing. Just like there is something about going home with a kid. So that whole thing, your childhood experiences, right? Half of it's skateboarding at the Timonium or the Towson Town Center and going down to the Timonium store and doing stuff. Like it's you get in that mindset of wanting to have the same experiences, and you end up going to the place you're from. So,
yeah, I mean, I think that the experiences are probably better out here, though. For the I mean, like
the weather certainly is.
The weather,
no winters.
Well, we were talking about that today with like it was 90 degrees today, and I was just like, Rachel said, I guess we don't need to worry about so much winter clothes. almost November, and there's there's 90 degrees outside. So,
but also I wore a jacket, pants, and like a 3/4 sleeve on Monday because it was 60 degrees Monday and it is 90 degrees on Thursday. So
yeah, it rained on Monday too.
It did, yeah,
which was unusual. That's that's part of the calculus there.
For the kids, rain is when water falls from the sky in the before times. That used to happen occasionally.
Again, I imagine depending on where you live, you'll have a different. California might be more droughty, but other places in the country might be more rainy. So,
that's also true. Yeah,
I don't think it's going away. Like, yeah,
year-long hurricane season. But I mean, speaking of experiences, that's another one. Like high school, I have an image in my mind of high school, and that is not a classroom, not even friends or teachers. It's the hallway down the new wing where I always used to hang out with my friends. California, you don't have those. You have classrooms that back up against each other and the doors go to the outside because what do we need hallways for? Like the weather's nice. We'll just go outside.
Yeah.
Lockers are outside and stuff. And it just blows my mind whenever I go past Hollywood High School. And I think about the difference between going to school there and going to school in Denton. And
right.
It's almost a completely different experience.
Yeah. And you know what? I think it's funny because I had a nice little, my schooling growing up was all different. You know, I had public, I had private, we had Hofstra together, obviously.
Yep.
My high school experience was really different from other people's high school experience because of the ADHD of it all and like being in a graduating class of 14 and
Katie's gonna know about that.
I'm sure she's gonna be like, why can't Dad seem to stay on track? Dad has started 5 things today and hasn't finished a single one of them.
We went out for lunch and we got back 3 days later. We just decided to go on a road trip in the middle of it all.
We went to Vegas.
Now that's going to be an experience. The first Vegas trip with the baby. So sometime in 2023, I guess, or 24.
No, it'll probably happen.
You think Rachel's going to be okay with taking the baby to Vegas?
I mean, the other thing that has yet been mentioned yet, we are still currently in the middle of a pandemic.
Yes.
So
again, they're going to know about that. It'll still be going on when she listens to this.
15
given
years
the
later.
odds of everything. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, if you're looking for your own little bit of history, here it is. Everyone was an idiot during the pandemic. Like everyone was a fucking idiot. So
here's a nice dating test for Casey, assuming she's like, teenager listening. Ask somebody if there was a deadly pandemic where 700,000 people would die, would they be willing to stay inside and wear a mask when they go outside? And if they say no, you run away from them as fast as possible. You want nothing to do with that.
I'm so ready for this to be done, but I don't imagine it's going to be done right away either. And
No.
I'm going to be way more careful about where Casey goes, like when she's young.
Yet another thing. How many times did I touch something dirty and put my hands in my mouth? And my mom's like, the dirt will help the immune system.
Yeah.
Just like I'm grabbing poles on a subway or the light rail in Baltimore and then just like licking the pole or licking my hands. And she's like, it builds character. Dirt's good for your immune system.
I mean, I can see the logic behind it. I also, it's like one of those like, doesn't really work either. It's like the people.
Well, I mean,
it's like the people who like cut the holes in the mask so they can breathe easier. Just like
getting exposed to the cold, great. Getting exposed
just
to
like
Ebola,
yes, you do breathe easier, but you're also severely impacting the ability to have that work properly.
And that's I think another difference. Like it's going to be you in the hospital with Rachel, and we can't go. Like every old show that any of the three of us will show her is going to be like everybody waiting in the waiting room for you to come out and be like, we got a baby. It's a girl. And everybody gets super excited, but we're not going to have
holding her up over my head over a rock.
Like Simba. Yeah. But no, I mean, you guys are going to be at the hospital, and then we'll have a come home day, and I guess that day maybe, but like it's still not what everyone pictures or what happened for us, I guess.
Well, yeah, and I mean, like, I think the one of the things that has sit with me the hardest during pandemic is that, like, you know, if you were 17 in March of 2020, you know, you missed out on prom, you missed out on graduation, you know,
missed out.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, like, you know, these are things that people look forward to. Most people look forward to. You know,
given our prearranged agreement, I won't mention.
I feel really bad for the people who started college, you know, in the last, like, in 2020. You know, like, you really feel like you got screwed out of that experience.
Yeah, and still going. Even USC is doing like half remote, half in class sessions. Like that's not our college experience. Was in August, meeting at the whatever warm up event. What was it called? I don't even know. But
it was like
a freshman event.
Yeah.
And it being 7 days of partying and just being like, the college is going to be great. And then picking up on day one and basically doing the same thing for 4 years. And I can't imagine going in and being like, okay.
Everyone showing up on the first day and being like, all right, and here's your class schedule. Class, I've been had.
I wasn't aware that class was going to be involved in this. I came to the freshman mixer. That was not mentioned.
I thought it was just fun. I thought we were just having fun. Now you made it about class.
I pay to live here and meet friends and go do fun things, right? No. Okay.
Yeah, for as much as we complain about how much rent costs, I still think back every once in a while about what board cost at Hofstra. It's like
for your triple. Is that what you had? Triple, right?
No, I had a triple. I had a double that became a single, became a super single.
Right. Yeah.
And I had a single. Yeah, that was it.
But Zach had the quad, which was he had a little more space than you with a whole extra person.
Yeah. Yeah. But each one of those rooms was like $5,000 a month, essentially, if you break it down over the course of the semester, you know?
For 100 square feet of your personal space. That's really all you got.
And a shared bathroom at the end of the hall.
Oh, God, that's right. But you didn't have to clean the bathroom, and you also didn't have to clean your room, really.
True. So. Yeah. I mean, true.
And I would pay extra if we could get like a whole floor of everyone I know just living together somewhere. Like there's something about the camaraderie of being able to like walk down the hall and see people rather than it's a 45-minute scooter ride for me now. So,
well, not only that, but I mean, like, I just think back to all the friends I made who, like, you just sort of like you're not doing anything, so you go out on the hallway and you see who you can hear.
It's like a small town, right? It's the porches of small towns. Like, hey, Bob, what are you up to?
You like walk down the hall and you see somebody's door open and you're just like, Sean, mighty fine day we're having here today, right?
Actually, I think what you mean is you walk down and then sit and play Madden for 9 consecutive hours.
You walk up, you're just like, oh, Madden? And it's like, yeah, you want to play? And then 9 hours later, you escape the room.
But you make good friends that way.
Yeah.
And point being, freshmen this year did not have that experience. Just like going into class for the first time in your sophomore year and meeting people who you've seen on camera.
Well, I mean, the good news, at least with COVID stuff, is that Rachel has been fully vaccinated, including her booster right before the birth, hopefully. So, you know, I would imagine that Casey girl is going to have some built-in immunity from that. It seems like
you've made a mutant who will not care about COVID so much, just laugh in COVID's face.
You know, but then by the time it looks like the 5 to 11 vaccine shot is going to be available soon. So, you know, by the time she's able to get a real vaccine, she'll be ready to go, I think.
For perspective, though, as I look at a picture of you holding Maxon, he is not yet old enough to get that vaccine. That is how much time has passed.
Oh
It feels
yeah.
very fast,
Oh
but
no.
it's also very slow.
Oh no. I totally understand it, but I just think it's funny that like I think of I think of it in terms of like kids I know too. Like so like Maxon, like he's how old at this point? Like 3?
About to be 4. About to be 4.
Yeah. So uh like he's always going to be 4 years older than her, right?
Yep.
And like he's going to be
That's how time works. Yeah.
he's going to be that kid who like like I would like to imagine that they like he sort of like tells her about the things that are coming up. It's just like, oh man, I remember what first grade was like, or whatever the case. Like I always thought it was. I never really had like an older kid in my life who like sort of helped guide me along.
Yeah, you were the older kid, right?
I was the
same way.
I mean, I had a lot of friends who are like my age,
Yeah,
or like roughly my age, but like there was never like an older kid that like we were all that I like ran into. And I think there's going to be a good number of like slightly older kids that Casey knows through me.
Rob and Maggie's kids, right? Will be older. Rachel knows like 30 of them, 30 people with kids, so it'll be fine. But I think the thing you need to be worried about most is there is a small chance, like let's say he runs away and comes and lives with me, that they will go to the high school together at the same time. And he has my genes. So I think that should be your larger concern. Just, that there will be a cheek in high school with your child who, given my high school experience, he will no longer be able to see Casey at all. Just, you're not allowed in the house. You stay outside on the porch. That's where you go.
Yeah. I'm the more and more I think about like things in the future though, like that, like college or high school or anything like that. Like I keep just wanting to put myself at the same like place where I say I want whatever makes her happy, because like there was a long part of my life where it was like doing things because I felt like I had to do them.
Yeah.
And I would have been way better off if I just would have like chose happiness instead. Like, not that like happiness should overrule all, but if there's something that makes you happy and fits in with what you need to do, then you should do that. Like
college. We just talked about it. Like, not for everybody. I will never push Maxon to go. I'm like, yo, if you don't want to go, man, go find something else to do, because it is a lot of money for nothing. I mean, I'm not using my degree. I'm also not using my graduate degree. Like, what's the point, really?
And a lot of people I know are not using their degree. And I really do wonder, like, right now it still feels like if you had a child who was college age, you're sending them to college. Like, that thing still is out there in the world. But I wonder if by the time all the kids who got screwed by college loans and stuff like that are just like, no, my kid doesn't need to go to college. Like, I wonder if it changes by then, or if college figures out a way to transition into something else that makes it more valuable than what it is right now.
Well, I mean, even now you could take like vocational programs at bigger schools. It's not so much like the big heady fucking stuff. It's nursing and auto mechanics is now available at UCLA. So I get they're going in the direction of college for everybody, even just get more skills if you want to do that instead. I imagine there may be a cheaper 1 or 2 year program that is like, get the college experience and some general knowledge about the world, but you don't have to pick a major. You're just like, I learned advanced calculus, I guess, or whatever, like advanced math. And we got to talk about history, like real history, not like high school history, but like, hey, the US, not such great things historically. I know your high school in Texas was only talking about the good stuff, but here's the other stuff. And then just to give
Christopher
you like
Columbus discovered America, yada, yada, yada. So 1976 was the 200th anniversary of the America.
It's the Star Spangled Spectacular.
There was a big party.
Thanksgiving, the Indians and the Pilgrims sat down and they had a meal, and then you go to college class and they're like, and then the Pilgrims shot them across the table. Like that's what we're the difference. That's what I mean.
America was discovered, yada yada yada. Manhattan was bought, yada yada yada.
Hey.
Some people got sick, yada.
That's high school in Texas. Literally, you have to say yada yada yada. You can't say the thing in between.
I really do wonder what they expect a school to be like if there's.
I mean, the other thing to think though is that's our high school experience. The teachers, Casey's teachers, are going to be younger than us.
Yeah.
So imagine like, they might be 15, 20 years younger than us being teachers. So imagine a girl I date teaching her history. I mean, one, does she have a degree? Because I have questions about the women I date. But also, two, some extreme leftist is teaching art. I mean, we already had art teachers who were like lefty hippies. But
I would prefer just across the board if you would try and not date my daughter's teachers. Like,
I can't make that promise. I'm not gonna lie and say. I'm going to be like Roberto. I'll have like a steady girlfriend, but also, go to her PTA meetings just because we'll see. Let's see what's out there. But okay, so I think it's difficult for us to make comparisons between your child rearing and being reared as a child, because the world is, I mean, listen, it blows my mind to think about this. I work with people who don't know a world before cell phones, don't know a world before the internet, and I can't, I think we talked about this earlier this week, but just like leaving home and my mom having no ability to contact me until I call her collect from a payphone and say, Mom, I'm done, come pick me up. Like as the name, that's it. Like, yeah, I can't imagine now, like Sarah, not a helicopter mom, but very much like, honestly, the mom I would love to have had. Like I'm gonna let you go out and smack your face, and then I'm gonna come over and like comfort you, but be like, this is why we don't do dumb things. I told you not to. You did it. You got hurt. Like that's what the mom.
She's like a helicopter mom in a police chase.
Yeah, basically,
she's like keeping some distance, but then as soon as she needs to move in,
I'm in.
Make them think you lost them for a little bit.
I can't imagine her allowing her child to leave and then be like, call me when you're ready. You got to be done you have to call me by 10, but call me when you're ready. Like that is unfathomable. I see my mentees were like texting their mom all the time. It's all the time, just like constantly while they were out. So it gives you that feeling like you're still in contact with them and you're not there, but you're kind of there.
I do wonder, sort of like from afar at what point I'll allow like the phone and stuff like that, because like
that's a good interesting question. Because I mean, for us, it was once they were available, my mom got me one because she's like, just keep it in the car. If anything happens, that way you don't have to walk to a payphone. You have the phone in your car.
Well, like I don't know if it started like this for you, but I think we had minutes on the ones that we originally had.
Yes, we did. Yeah, the track phone.
Yeah. Like where you bought like 100 minutes, and then like nobody really. The only thing I remember is telling people to call me after 9 or whatever it was for like nights and weekends.
That wasn't the track phone. That was the next one. It was monthly, but your bill got your free calling after 9 and on weekends. So, call me back in 15.
Yeah,
because I gotta wait for it's not free right now. I'm burning time. But yeah, I don't think that was the minutes though, because the minutes were just like, it burned off whenever, just as use.
It's hard to remember, but I mean, like I really do. I think I would like to have try and keep the separation from technology at least for a while, because like I feel like too many kids nowadays are just like they grab an iPad when they're 2 and then it never escapes their face, and then by the time they're 12, like they don't have like basic ability to communicate with people because everything has been behind the iPad.
But everything can be bad, but then also I get like random so I got my sister the Facebook portal and it sits on her counter, and so Maxon has now learned all he has to do is press my face and it calls me, and then boop, I appear on there and we're talking. And he will do the thing like he'll be watching videos for like 30, 40 minutes, when he's getting ready for bed. And then he'll come over and call me and be like, tell me about this thing that I saw. And I realized that I, at his age, would have had no ability to expose myself to that. It's like going to the library and picking a random book out and reading 5 pages and then having the ability to instantly go over and call someone and ask them to explain more so I can understand it. That is mind blowing. But also, they could be just watching like filler videos over and over again for 12 hours.
Yeah.
So it's a parent though. That's the whole thing. We had parents that weren't, we have the term helicopter parents because the normal was go play, be home when the streetlights get on. And the helicopter parents were ones who were like, hey, where you going? I don't want you to go beyond where I can see. Like, and that is kind of what we need now. Because you have to be able to watch them.
I feel like the more relevant one, because like even like where I was I wasn't like in the city growing up,
at least
but like there was still sort of that idea of like the Baltimore, there's the stoop kid and the corner kid, there's the kid that will not leave the general vicinity of the stoop. They'll go outside, they'll do something, they'll hang out with their friends, but they better be within eyesight of the stoop at all times.
Yes.
And then there's the corner kids where, like basically as soon as they leave the house, you don't know where they are until they show up like 4 or 5 hours later, like.
I was a corner kid. Just
just that was
hit the bike and I'm gone.
That was the thing. Like, we used to like bike to a friend's house and stuff like that. Like it was never far. Like you could walk. It was just like we had bikes, so why wouldn't we take our bike?
Thinking about it now, I realize that I didn't go more than 400 feet from my house, but then it felt like you were going a long way. It's like, I'm going to ride the bike, I'm going to make a left turn here and a right turn here. But if I had just cut through all the yards, I was like 400 feet from my house and I felt like I was a world away.
Well, another one I thought about was, I remember I went to my elementary school, like as an adult. I think I had to vote or something like that. Like,
yep.
I don't remember what the reason was I was there per se, but I got to like walk the halls of my old elementary school. And I remember thinking like, this is the biggest building I've ever seen. And then as an adult, you're just like, I can literally hit both sides of the, like I can outstretch my arms and touch both walls. Like this is the smallest place I've ever been.
6 wide when you're in first grade in the hallway. And as an adult, you're like, oh, it's not really that big. I can touch all the lockers. It's fine.
It was kind of like, it felt kind of like, you remember when we went to one of the final games at Old Yankee Stadium and like we went into the concourse and we're just like, this is a fire hazard. This whole place is so small. And then like you see it on TV and you think like there's never been a bigger arena than Yankee Stadium. And then you're there and you're just like, this is tiny.
Yeah. Also, the seats were unbelievably tiny. Yeah. Just like wedge yourself in for the next 9 minutes.
Well, we were on bleachers too, so.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Anyway, back to the topic, which is I want to transition since we're about 40 minutes in now.
Yeah.
To what are your feelings right now? Looking forward, not like to her going to school, not to her getting a cell phone, but the next 3 years when you are where like I'm going to 4th birthday party. So like when you're there.
I mean, I think what keeps coming in my mind is like immediately she's not going to like have a lot of personality. Like when a newborn doesn't have like a ton of like that personality doesn't start showing up for a couple months,
she'll have the baby personality, which is a personality, but not unique to her or anyone.
Right, exactly.
Oh, cute face. Oh.
Or she's, if you do a hiding and coming back and stuff, she'll react to that. But like, it seems from what I've been from my research, that the baby, somewhere around 6 months starts showing those little flashes of like what makes them them. So in these like first 4 years per se, like I'm just really curious about like, like seeing what type of personality she has and like what type of like things I can do to like, help inspire it or engage it or like try and like that's really what I want to do. Like I want to I want to be right. Like sometimes I guess like my dad, he worked hard. So he was always like, when he came home from work, he didn't want to like do things per se.
Yeah.
Not like
Yeah.
he wasn't engaged with us, but like he didn't want to like go to the zoo or something. Like he's just too tired,
But I
Like
had an old dad. You're speaking to the choir.
yeah.
I had a 55-year-old dad when I was 9 and 10. So it's just like, listen, buddy, we can toss the ball for 2 minutes and then going back in for dinner.
Yeah. I mean, like I just think I want to like if she shows a interest in something, I kind of want to like just like let her see it or like let her experience it. Like so
What
she's
if
just like I want to see a giraffe. I'd be like, all right, well, let's go to the zoo. Like
what if your kid is an asshole? What if 4 years in you're like, God, this
well,
kid
then
is an
I'm blaming you
asshole."
personally. That's
As you should.
No, I mean like I don't know, like I think that would be
By
a
the way,
little
I
bit.
can't wait to have an argument with a teenage girl about like, I wasn't even born yet. You called me an asshole. This is why. This is why. Because I know the future.
I would hope that between me and Rachel, we have a pretty mellow kid.
There's going to be about 0% chance of that happening.
Though I do think that like kids always spring back the opposite of like, I don't know. I feel like I'm a pretty good mix between my mom and dad and like, I mean, like, I think first of all, you can like tell that I'm related to them.
Yes. Yeah.
My brother is certainly looks like my dad. And my sister certainly looks more like my mom, but I kind of have that good 50-50 thing going on. Yeah. But I also think that a lot of my personality was derived from their personality. So, like just trying to be like the best, most open version of myself that I can be around her and let her sort of experience things and like I don't know.
I will say though, I think you're right about being opposite, but I really I continue to go back in my head to it's a teenage thing because I could not have been more opposite than both of my parents from 12 to 21, 22. But now realistically, I'm not the same ideologically, but like my dad and I are the same fucking person. Just like helping people out and, doing too much work and, trying to like lead people and like inspire people. That's just what he does. And I do the same thing. Ideologically, still not aligned,
right.
but I've become that person. And like my mom was a teacher and I enjoy teaching a lot. And, like the whole, my dad was a pastor and I have a cult. So, I mean, these things we have in common. So I think that like ignoring that time when you just like, I rebel to rebel. I want to be different to be different.
Yeah.
Then you end up coming back. I mean, you at 18 wasn't really either of your parents. You look like them, but you weren't them. But now you're kind of circling back in that direction. Like soft spoken and, helpful and kind. And that's all things that both your parents are.
I think another thing about this that is a little bit different for me, I guess, as opposed to there's other parents who have ADHD, but I mean, like, when I was growing up, ADHD was known about, like it was discovered and like people were applying. Yeah. But like nobody really knew what it meant. And honest to God, for the first 28 years of my life, I didn't have a firm grasp on like what was really different about me. I just knew that everything was harder. Like no matter what I tried to do, it was going to be harder for me to do it than it was going to be for you to do it,
Well, everything is that I do is harder for you to do. That's just excellence.
I mean, like, like if it's like write a term paper, Rob's going to be able to be like, all right, well, I need to start this tonight because if I'm going to do this section this week and this section next week and this section the week after, I need to have this level. And then meanwhile, me was just like, oh, that shit's due tomorrow. Guess I better read the book. Like, like.
To be fair, though, yes, I would plan it out. but then I would just not do any of it. The
Yeah.
difference is I could sit down at 9 p.m. when it's due at midnight and bang out 20 pages and be done. And you would have to think about it the night before and just be like, all right, so Rob is going to do 4 pages an hour. I'm going to do a half a page an hour. So I need to plan accordingly to the end.
I was basically doing the 20 pages in 3 hours thing too. So,
well, one of us was summa cum laude, and
the other was not.
So I would just say maybe the 20 pages in 3 hours had a different spin on it.
Yeah.
In the middle of your term paper, you're like, so when I was walking in a garden once when I was 12, I just like, what? Oh, I don't know. I got distracted. I started writing about something else, and then I had to bring it back together.
It started with a paper about Walt Whitman, and it ended with.
And that's the reason for the Civil War. Wait, what am I writing about? Oh, shoot.
That's when things really turned for L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah.
What paper am I reading here? No, but I mean, like, I think it's interesting that, like, throughout my life, my neurodivergent condition was understood, but not, like, in a way that it could be explained to me. Like,
yeah,
because it felt very much like, you know, like if somebody walked up to you when you were like, you know, in first grade, it was just like, you have lupus or you have diabetes. You're probably looking at them like, okay, what is that? And then they can say, oh, this, you know, it's this and this and this, and, you know, this is how you'll feel, and these are the problems that you have, blah, blah, blah. You know, with ADHD, they're just sort of like, you have ADHD. And I'm just like, okay, so what is that exactly? It's like, we don't know. It's like, all right, well, just like everything will be more difficult for you. And I'm just like, okay. Like,
and realistically, they said, here, take this pill, which will help you focus in
take
school.
Take this stimulant.
Ruins everything else in your life.
Right. But now, like, you know, like, we know what that is. Like, there's more, you know, just like we were talking about gender at the very top of this, like, you know, that was not even something that was, like, ever discussed. And I mean, like, you know, I think about it in terms of, like, raising her. Like, I'm not, I think there's a little bit of people who bring it up all the time probably inspire that sort of thought process in the child. So, like, I just want to keep everything open. Like, I want her to make all her own choices. Like, you know, she feels like she wants to get into tennis, it's not because I was making her watch Serena Williams every day. You know, it's like she decided on her own. She's just like, I saw this looks interesting. Can I play tennis? And then I'm just like, yes, like, of course you can play tennis.
And now we learn she'll never be Serena or Tiger or any of them.
I don't know. Maybe we'll go see King Richard and everything will change. Just have her out on the clay every day at 4 a.m.
But I mean, again, I think that there's a balance of, you said you wanted to do this. Today is tough, but you got to push through. And then if it's 2 weeks if I don't want to do this, it's like, all right, we don't have to do it anymore. As long as it's not you just like giving up because it's hard. It's something you like. And I told my sister that too. Like, Maxon wanted to try soccer, and then after the second game, he wanted to quit. And soccer looks like something, and then when you play it, it's not always that. But as long as it wasn't just like, I want to quit today, and you let him quit, it's fine. He went 3 more weeks of like games and practices and was just like, I don't like it. This is not what I want to do. Okay, now we'll take you out. I don't care. I just don't want it to be a spur of the moment thing. The other problem though is you could have been like, no, we're going to get up extra early and run drills every day. And then he might turn into Ronaldo. That's a soccer player, right?
Yeah.
He might turn into Ronaldo, but he'd probably hate me and hate everyone who made him do it.
Yeah, I I worry about that as well, just because I think parents don't want to overload their kids with too much stuff, but like I remember playing Little League baseball and being like, this is boring. Yeah. And I love baseball now as an adult. But I feel like I would have liked baseball more as a child if somebody like had like really drilled down strategy with me, as opposed to like just go up there and swing and give it your best. Because like I feel like I wasn't prepared to actually play the game as much. Like it was, you're largely going through the motions when you're a little kid playing baseball. Like,
and I think that difference. I had a manager who sat me down at 11 and was like, "Listen, you do not have the physical traits that are going to carry you in this game. But what I want you to do, instead of worrying about when I'm going to play and when I'm going to bat, is to sit here with me and we're going to talk about why things happen the way that they happen out there. Because you can learn this game and teach other people and lead other people, but you're just never going to have it. You're never going to be the guy who's out
you're
there
not going to be
home runs.
You're not going to be the talent, but
right. But I mean, and he told me even then, he's like, listen, there are two types of managers in the professional baseball. It's the guy who had a 25-year career as a player and then becomes a manager. And there's the guy who has never played anything outside of maybe college baseball.
Yeah.
But he knows the game so well that they trust him to lead a team. Now, I didn't do either of those things because eventually I saw what everyone else saw. Baseball is boring. But unless you're there live. I mean, it's like, oh, you got to study games. I don't want to watch an old game on TV. No.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, I feel like the difference is, like I would have. It's all about trying to learn that personality and like what helps, drill things down into each individual person. Like that's something I feel like in my adult life I've been pretty good at, is that I can read people and realize how they need to hear information to like properly to get the reaction I want out of them. So hopefully the same sort of thing happens with, Casey, where, like if she comes up to me and she says, I want to play soccer, I can gauge how much she really wants to like learn about soccer and how much she just wants to like run out there with her friends, like
let's not lie. Wait. If Casey comes up to you and says, I want to play soccer, she's going to come home from school the next day. There will be a full-size soccer setup in the front yard, 2 goals, goalie gloves, cleats, shin pads, balls. Dad's going to be out there already decked out. Like, let's go. Go.
Looking like Ted Lasso.
And then the next day she's going to say, you know what? Lacrosse looks fun. And she's going to come home from school the day after, and there will be 2 lacrosse goals set up, and Dad's going to be out there swinging his stick. Like, you ready? Let's do this.
She says,
and that's okay too.
She says, actually, I think I might be more interested in lacrosse. And I'm like, all right, when you come home from tomorrow from school, we'll do a little bit of that. She comes home, and it's just like an old police station in the back of the house with like the swinging light. And I'm just like, you wanted to play lacrosse, so I'm gonna treat you like a goddamn criminal. What do you want?
Where were you last Saturday night? Don't lie to me. I know
you got drunk. You crashed your father's Ferrari, and now you're calling the lawyer. Go ahead. Tell him what you're going to tell him. This is lacrosse practice.
Well, I mean, listen, they should have lacrosse practice if they're telling them to get a lawyer, because too many of them kids don't know to shut up when the ball comes. So, all right. So we got about 10 minutes left.
Yeah.
And here's my writing prompt for you.
Okay.
Or just the prompt. You are listening to this 5 years from now.
Yeah.
5 years and 4 kids from now, you're listening to this show. You're the last time pre-father.
Yeah.
What do you today want to tell you then? And also, what do you think you then would want to tell you today?
That's a good thought. Just what?
All the time.
So I guess let me start from where I am now and what I wish I would have told me 5 years from now.
Sure, yeah.
Which I think is like, it's a very serious job being a parent. But I think there has to be time for, like, it's like I don't know how to explain it really. It's like it feels like it's a very important job because, you're responsible for taking care of someone and making sure they survive and everything like that.
Yes. Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I don't think there's any reason to squeeze it too tight, Like, there's no reason to take the seriousness of it and, like, sort of take away the ability to be flexible and I don't know. I just think like so much of what I'm going to do is going to be based off of the things that she gives me, you know? So like I just want to make sure that like I'm as pliable as possible into whatever kind of thing she gives me. And then I think also if I'm thinking about 5 years from now talking to me now, I would probably give myself almost the exact opposite advice in a way, which is like like I feel like I need to be assertive, like so that, you know, like Casey knows like I'm a person of authority. But like, you know, it's
So we're just lying to her straight out the womb. Is that what you're saying?
no, I mean like I feel like I really do feel like, you know, somewhere in between these two answers is like finding that balance between being you know, a dad and being somebody who helps like guide the way, you know? Like that's something that really is like I'm thinking about a lot. And I
well,
want
really,
to like
it's the difference between
try
being
and get that right.
dictator,
Yeah,
being a
like
dictator and being a guide, and you don't want to be too much of either. The money is right there in the middle.
well, because I mean, like at the end, you know, like I think about fuck, what was it Mean Girls where Amy Poehler plays the mom,
Cool mom?
like the cool mom?
Yeah, it's Mean Girls. Yeah.
Like there's a part of like if you're too lenient and you're too much like you're trying to be a friend, like there's a way that this goes very wrong. But obviously, if you're like the super strict dictator parent, there's a way that goes wrong too.
You turn into me.
So there's like a part of me that just wants to try and like, you know, and obviously like people are gonna. I think the part that bothers me is like sort of like the ADHD perfectionist is that like if I fuck something up, it sits with me for a while, like I beat myself up over it. But with the kid, like you're gonna fuck up. Like it's kind of like baseball. You're only gonna get it like 40% right at times. So like try and make the most of it. Like
what you have to do is look at it and say, that's gonna cost me some therapy money later. All right, let's go on.
Hopefully not. I mean, hopefully nothing that serious happens. But I mean, like you know, like I think that there's this idea of like wanting to be a perfect ideal parent, but at the same time you sort of have to get over the fact that you're not always going to get it right, and it's just about trying your best. And you know, I think that's the thing, the golden rule that's kind of like pushing me forward. Like
I think the perfect anything is too big a goal. It's always to be the best, and the thing is to be the best parent for this child that you can.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing we suffered from was too many parents with the baby with like the books on raising kids. And it's like there is a way to get the child to do this right. And one benefit of being now versus then is we much more have said you could have 3 kids that need to be parented 3 different ways.
Yeah.
Like you just have to be the best parent for this child in what they need that you can.
Well, yeah, for sure. I feel like growing up there was a lot of systemization of child rearing, where it was just like, here is the one foolproof way to raise a kid. And it's like, it's not the same for every kid. And you can't apply things like carte blanche to like every single kid and expect everything to be all right at the end. So, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, like, it's, what sucks is it's like, it feels like, you know, I want to say like trial and error, but then that sounds like I'm admitting that I'm going to fuck up at certain points along the way, but like at the same time, it's
attorneys and doctors are in practice. It gets better every single day, and like you know, you're not going to know out of the womb how to best parent your child. It's like, okay, that did not work. We're not going to do that again. You know, spanking is always a question that comes up, and it's like, well, it works. I mean, I was a kid, and I can say with 100% certainty, I needed to be spanked. There was you need to break this kid or he is going to go nuts. And I would have gone way far to the like making meth and doing jail a lot. If my dad had not been very strict. And I joked about, you know, having the strict parent, but the reality is I needed at 7, 8, 9, to have my will broken just enough so that I didn't get in trouble all the time. But my sister was not that. And the difference is you can't apply that rule to everybody. She was not the one who was going to go get in trouble. So it's like, all right, we tried the timeout. Rob, no timeouts. Basically, we said, don't step foot outside. So he laid with his feet in the living room and his body out on the porch so that he could be outside. Like, that was me. Yeah. My sister was like, timeout. And she would go cry in the corner because she had disappointed them and they were angry with her. We're very different children.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, like, thinking about just like getting spanked, and like I got spanked as a kid, not a whole bunch of times, but I certainly know why it happened. Like, a line was definitely crossed. I don't know if
is it when you punched your brother in the stomach? Because that's
surprisingly, the assaults against Brendan were not punished, but rather applauded.
The Baker household is like a shark's womb. You're fighting your way out. Only one of you is going to survive.
It's like the Klitschko's. No, but the I get where you're coming from with that, because like I feel like there needed to be something that, like, like, because you get spanked. I know this is not like seen as like great child rearing advice this day, but I mean, like, I feel like, maybe I got spanked like 4 or 5 times in my entire childhood, and none of them, like, I wasn't welted or anything like that. Like, I walked away from it
learning a lesson,
but not having any physical scarring from it. But at the same time, like, I feel like I did need somebody to tell me, like, in a more definitive version that, like, I've crossed a serious line.
My sister has only spanked Maxon one time, and that is when he ran away from her and ran towards the road and then didn't stop. And she's like, when I called him, I hugged him because I was so worried. But then we need to send a message.
Yeah.
We do not go in the road. That is not what we do at all. And it has to be, honestly, that may be the only time. Because like after that, I'm sure it shocked him because it had never happened before. And he's just like, all right, so when mom says don't do it, that means don't do it. And there is like, don't do it. And then there's screaming my name, don't do it. And that's going to be a problem. That's the difference. But then again, I say that I say I would never spank a child. Having had the experience of raising someone else's child where it was like, no, we spank. This is the situations we spank in. I did it and I don't feel good about it and I don't like it. So for me, it just wouldn't be the thing to do.
Yeah, I mean,
but every kid's different. Every parent's different.
I would really like to imagine that there's something within me that allows me to find another path. But I don't know. I think a lot of the conversation about spanking was centered on the idea that any time you do it is a really bad thing for a child, which I don't think is necessarily true.
Yeah.
Based mostly off of the experience of people who were like essentially abused by their parents. Like,
well,
physically like they're,
do we need to have quarantine where everybody stays at home? No. But you guys don't know how to follow simple rules, so we got to shut it all down. We got to be harsh.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work, clearly. I mean, that's an example where we see that it doesn't work. When you do it every single time.
If you have an abusive parent who's just trying to hit somebody, like that's not going to help. But like,
yeah.
I do think there needs to, and slapped on the wrist is like kind of the other, like that one didn't happen as much like when I was a kid. But I mean, like, it still holds true enough that people will say like, they got a slap on the wrist to prove that like there's some level of punishment, but that wasn't a serious, like you weren't killed, you weren't hung, you were just slapped on the wrist, like you learned a lesson from that. Yeah, more than anything though, I'm just like, at this moment right now, I'm just so excited. Like I just want to meet her, but it's like I want her to come as soon as possible, but I also want her to wait these last couple days.
Listen, can you come and I'll hold you for a couple minutes and then we'll put you right back in.
Put you back in the loop. Listen, it's lunchtime. I was gonna like I went to lunch today. Went to Horse Thief and I was just like sitting outside and enjoying some lunch to myself. Like, I'm sure it's gonna hit me at some point, like, oh, that's the last time I might be able to do that for
Yeah, yeah.
like
Daddy's gonna have to learn to make a sandwich. That's what's gonna have to happen. But
um
as we wrap up, I want you to do one more thing.
okay.
I'm gonna put you on center here, just you. And what do you want to tell Casey a year from now, 5 years from now, 15, whatever? This is you're gonna send her a personal message.
I always heard parents talking about like I loved you from the like before I even met you, I loved you and stuff like that. I always thought like, oh, well, that's just something that that like sounds really good when you say it out loud, kind of thing. Because like, how could you love anything without like knowing? And you know, like I was just like, I just bought you a car that you're gonna love. It's just like, well, you don't know that. You know what I mean? Like, you think you might know that, but you don't know that. Honestly, like from the moment that I found out about Casey's existence, I was like, I love this child, and I want to just like I'll do anything. I'll I'll be anywhere. I'll make things happen just to make sure she has a good life and stuff like that. And like I don't know, that really is like something that I keep coming back. Like, uh, I'll see a little outfit for her, stuff like that, and I'll buy it for her because like I'm just like so excited to see like because like I'm just like I don't know if this is going to fit her or if she's gonna like it or if it's gonna work for her or anything like that. But I'm just buying her things because I want to be ready and because I'm excited. Like so I think the one thing that like really like I would want her to know is like I how much I I loved her even at this moment before she even came, like I think that's the thing that really is crystallizing in me at the moment.
Well, and I will add on to that only to say you will likely want for nothing. You will be surrounded by people who are excited for you to come. You will have, I'm 3,000 miles away from my nephew, and I still make every effort to be involved as possible. And I think mom and dad have a group of friends around them who are going to be exactly the same way. I mean, even now, we've been gone from Maryland for 5 years, and it's still like invested in what's going on with Bailey and the whole family, like everything. The pictures and like, oh, there's new pictures you see. Oh no, share pictures and you are going to be surrounded for your entire life with people who want nothing but the best for you, who will challenge you and also protect you and take care of you. There will not be a moment in the next 20 years or more. I shouldn't say 20 because I probably won't make it a full 20, but in the next few years at least, that you won't have maybe even just beyond what you can see, but a circle around you of people who are thinking about you and are concerned about you and who are going to be there to help guide and lift you up when you need it and hold you back when you need it, but push you forward and hold you down when those things are necessary too. So it's an exciting event for all of us. I'm living by proxy through you because God knows I don't want to have to get up early on a Saturday. So that's never going to happen in my life. But it couldn't have happened to better people. And I guess that's another message too. Like, listen, if you're 12 or 15 or 20 and you actually are listening to this, trust and believe that your parents are some of the best people that I know, and they have tried their hardest. And it's not always going to be perfect. It's not always going to make sense, but they have absolutely tried their hardest to give you everything that you need and to take care of you the best that they can. And it might not always be what you think is right, but I can tell you sitting here now, looking at you in the future, that everything was done exactly as best as it could have been done. So I know you might be thinking about like, oh, this one time, and wherever you are in life, I can still like sit here and jokingly talk with your dad about all this stuff that happened when I was a kid. But I do know that everything that happened led me up to being right here and right now. And some of those things were things I chose, and some of those things were the things my parents did for me. And despite my jaded thoughts about my childhood, perhaps, I would not be the person that I am. I mean, maybe Cory, you're thinking like, God, there's some better decisions could have been made along the way, and then we wouldn't have to deal with all of this. But growing into my own came from all of those things.
You know, it's just going back to the idea of like like you're probably you'll be really good at this if you get it right 40% of the time.
Yeah.
Like baseball. Yeah. Like I just I appreciate all the things you just said, and I am trying to do my best every time, and like I think we all look back on our life at even with the decisions we make ourselves as opposed to decisions other people make for us, and say like, oh, I probably would have wished to have done this differently, but it all leads to wherever you eventually end up. So like the journey is worth the journey is part of the overall experience at some point. Like how you got here is important to where you end up.
For you, I want to say, like, yes, I think baseball is a great example. 4 out of 10 times you succeed, and 6 out of 10 times you do something less than ideal. But the greatest hitters in the history of baseball, none of them have come to the plate for the first time in their professional appearances and been great from the beginning. Somebody who hits 400 in their 9th, 10th year of career was not hitting 400 when they came into the league.
Yeah.
They were learning it. And that is the thing. It's making sure that every time that there is a less than ideal outcome, even a failure, maybe take a lesson, learn a lesson from that, and make sure that the next time that it presents itself, that you're ready and that you're going to perform better.
Well, your mother coughing in the background is the sign that we should wrap it up.
Mom just woke up, so it's time to go eat.
She's awake. She's stroking Brooks right now in the bed. Aww. So,
well, in just a few weeks, that will be not Brooks. Brooks will be on the floor, a forgotten commodity, and the baby will be there.
Brooks knows how to jump up and down off the couch now, so I think he'll
nothing but
he'll force themselves into any situation. And he already knows how to jump on the bed, so. I'm sure he's not going to feel left out for long.
Well, if you want to hear more from the tales of growing up Casey, where would you go, Cory?
OTheAnthem.com, Cory to OTheAnthem.com, O The Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
443-219-7595. You can find more of me at website CoryBakerFilmmaker.com, Facebook.com/CoryBakerFilm for now. And at LegendsCB5 on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I think it's going to be so funny when she hears this when she's like 15 years old and she's just like, what was Twitter? And I'm just like, oh, God, that was such a...
Don't do that to me.
Such a big part of who I was.
And, of course, make sure you do follow Cory on social media for all of the cute baby pictures that are forthcoming. I'm sure that he will at some point just post a picture Rachel has posted, and then you can follow her, and then you'll be bombarded with baby pictures for the next 5 years. But you can find more of me at Robert and Cheek on all your social media. Very low likelihood, maybe one baby picture. That's gonna be about it.
You'll take one when she first comes, just so you.
Yeah. Here's me holding. Okay, now you take this thing back.
Take this child away from me.
Uncle Rob's going to go play some COD and then go to sleep in tomorrow.
Got to go kill some Nazis. Bye.
But you, robertandcheek.com for everything that I'm working on. And, of course, I do play Call of Duty, stream twitch.tv/RobertandCheek. And KOU, KERYS. That's my handle. Come join me. I just can't wait to play my first game of Call of Duty with Casey. It's going to be great. I'm going to turn her into a gamer girl. I'm going to make her an e-girl, and we're going to be making thousands of dollars. I already have Maxon's YouTube channel set up. If it's something you're interested in, I can get you set up. We'll get the social media locked down. It'll be great.
Well, we'll discuss it with her.
I'm thinking Truman Show. Let's Casey show this whole situation.
I was just watching a Truman Show video last night. That's funny. Well, honestly, I don't know how we did it, but for the first time ever, I think we've done good here today.
Now listening to this 15 years in the future, Casey is echoing along with me. You've done something. I don't know if it's good. But as always, you're listening to the O The Anthem podcast, part of the O The Anthem digital network. For Cory and Casey, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody.
Love you, baby girl.
Oh, now I'm gonna cry. All right. Here it comes. You almost got me with that speech. Now it's coming. I had to mute myself because I was just like, I don't know how I'm gonna react.